Iran responds, the U.S. will be there to defend Israel, correct?
What I'm saying is that our commitment to Israel's security is ironclad, and of course, part of that includes the defense of Israel when it faces threats from malign actors like the Iranian regime. That should be no surprise to you, Saeed.
So you often speak of the rights of every nation to defend itself. Do you acknowledge that this was an Israeli aggression against Iran?
I don't have any information for you, Said, on this incident or possible reactions, and certainly don't have any thing to offer as it relates to attribution, and would let the Israelis speak to any operation of theirs that they may be undertaking. I don't have a perspective to offer.
It seems that the whole world acknowledges that this was an Israeli aggression on the capital of Iran. But suppose, when you develop the proper information to say that Israel was behind this aggression on the Iranian capital, it is within Iran's right to defend itself?
I'm not going to speculate on this, Saeed. I don't have an update or an assessment to offer for you as it relates to attribution, and so I will just leave it at that.
Okay. In principle, as a sovereign nation, does Iran have the right to defend itself?
Saeed,
it's a simple question. Does Iran, as a sovereign nation, as any other nation, does it have the right to defend itself?
Iran is a regime that time and time again, since 1979, has been the largest and greatest exporter of terrorism, not just in the Middle East, but broadly. And it has a clear track record of not just suppressing its own people, but also funding, promoting, encouraging malign, destabilizing actions across the region. And our opinion and point of view on the Iranian regime is quite clear, and we will not hesitate to not just stand with our allies and partners when it comes to defending against threats from Iran, but also taking appropriate action from the United States as it stands.
So you're saying that the nature of the Iranian regime strips it of the right to defend itself and to defend its sovereignty.
I just don't have any assessment to offer on this.
No, you just said that.
I don't have any assessment to offer on this incident. I don't have any assessment on attribution.
Let me ask you something.
Like
you talked about the deal that is underway, the negotiations. Now, is there any doubt that the Israeli Prime Minister have taken almost every step to scuttle the negotiations over the past few months?
So,
do you have any doubt in your mind that he has taken those?
I'm not going to speak for Prime Minister Netanyahu, Saeed, and I will let him speak for himself. But in general, what I can say is that we have seen the Israelis engaged and constructive in conversations that we have been having about a ceasefire deal. And so we continue to believe both that a ceasefire deal is both achievable and urgent, and it is something that our partners in Israel want. I'm not going to speak to the specificity of the ongoing process beyond that.
Okay, but Mr. Haniyeh was the chief negotiator. He was the chief negotiator involved in these negotiations. So when Israel first kills his grandchildren, then kills all his children, then kills him, does that send like a clear message that they don't want these negotiations? He is the chief negotiator, correct?
Right. I will say again, as I've said to Daphne and others, I'm not going to speculate on this as it relates to how it may or may not impact a ceasefire deal. What I can say is that the United States unequivocally is focused on continuing its work to close the gaps. We think that getting a deal done is not just in the United States' interest, it's in the region's interest, it's in Israel's interest, it's in the interest of the Palestinian people. We are talking about creating the conditions so the remaining hostages can return home, that there can be an influx of humanitarian aid, and getting this region out of this endless cycle of violence. So that's what we're going to remain focused on. And as I said to Olivia and others, when it comes to continuing to engage in these conversations, there continue to be ways in which we can continue to engage with Hamas and Israel appropriately as it relates to the contours of the deal. And that work, I have no doubt, will continue.
Okay, let me ask you, a basic question. As far as the negotiations are concerned, is the killing of Mr. Haniyeh good bad or indifferent in your view?
I am not going to speculate again for what is probably now the 15th time. I am not going to speculate on.
I'm just saying, how is it likely to impact?
Again, I'm just not going to speculate on that. What I can speak to is what the United States is doing and what the United States is focused on. And what we are doing and what we are focused on is working to close the gaps. We continue to believe a deal is achievable. We think it's urgent, and we continue to work at this around the clock.
Okay, my
I'm
last.
gonna move on, Saeed.
I promise that
Okay.
it's my last. My last.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that killing Haniya complicates the negotiations further?
Saeed, you literally just asked me a
I'm just
version of that
asking you.
question.
Is this
Willie, go
likely
ahead.
an event that is likely-
Go ahead,
Ask a
Willie.
very similar
Go ahead,
question to
Willie.
Saeed.
It's fine.
I mean, you mentioned that Israel, in your eyes, has shown a willingness